right, good morning, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Here we are on, I guess it depends on who you're asking. I had it as day 6, but a lot of the media is claiming day 2, so I guess we're on day 2 of the Richard Allen trial. I hope everybody is doing well. We'll recap everything that happened yesterday, and then, of course, get up to speed on what's going on today. It seems like we've had at least 2 testify today. Jake Johns, which is a local, who I'm assuming was part of the search party, and I guess he found Libby's tie-dye shirt. And then also we had former police chief Steve Mullen, who was also out there, and apparently he showed where the bodies were found. And I guess they had a aerial map and footage of drone footage of the area, kind of showing what it's like out there, since obviously the jurors can't or will not be going out there, which I would agree with, because it doesn't look the same as what did 7 years ago, and you'd probably have to go out there, during the same time of season. So let's check the chat here for a minute. Of course, Murder Sheet was there. They did a podcast late last night. I feel really bad. I feel bad for just about everybody that's there, especially like the reporters and stuff, and what they have to go through, because I guess it's like, it's pretty bad. We'll listen a little bit of that. But for today's show, yesterday I think we did a 6-hour live. We're not going to go that long. It's only supposed to last from 9 to noon today. So technically they should be wrapping up now. So we'll see what happens. But we'll kind of recap, get a feeling for what was like inside the courtroom. The Murder Sheet said they got there, I think, at 11 p.m. the night before. And I guess there was already people in line, and they had just barely got in. So the people that showed up, say, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and froze their butts off, weren't able to get in yesterday. So, oh my gosh. And then the whole thing with you can't leave. If you leave, you're going to lose your seat. And then during lunch, I guess they all get ushered out. And then they have to redo the whole thing again. So you have to basically choose whether you want to go eat lunch or get back in line. So it seems like a mess that they need to fix. But we know Judge Gold. She's no nonsense. So I don't know if she cares about that or not. But good morning, Donna. Good morning, Mitzi, Sensei. Good to see you. Thank you so much for filling in and modding. I certainly appreciate that. Please hit that like button. BGOG, good to see you. Josh the Posh is in here. Hope you're doing well, Josh. We got Michelle in here. Good to see you. Good morning, mobsters. I'm in and out this morning. So happy you're covering this. Of course, this case is everything. We got more artwork. Should we start with the artwork? If you guys haven't seen it, this really gives you a good feeling for the atmosphere of what it's like in the courtroom. So that's the one yesterday, but we got 3 more. So I don't know if this is the family or what. I think this is supposed to be the family. And we have, I think this is supposed to be Anna, the mother of Abby, on the stand. And then, there we go. This guy's falling asleep. So there's the artwork. We got several YouTuber creators commented on that artwork. Must be a local cartoonist. Yeah, I think someone researched it. I forgot. Somebody researched the company. I forget the company's name, but got the whole Charlie Brown aspect to it. Yeah, that's wild. Let's see if there's any updates, since obviously it would be noon there, which they should be leaving. So we'll see if there's any updates. And then I got some highlights from yesterday and all that good stuff. So let me take a sip here and we'll read what we got here. Okay. So just to kind of show what's going on today. So 7:50, everybody was lining up. 9 a.m. the trial started. So they say the second day of trial. So yeah, even though originally I thought it would be yesterday was day 5 and today's day 6. I guess today's technically day 2. So he says there will not be any updates until this break because people in courtroom cannot have cameras, cell phones. Obviously, we know that. So 10:37. I guess the first witness was Steve Mullen, according to this. And as I said earlier, showed the jury where they found Abby and Libby's body. Steve Mullen, obviously, he's was the former police chief when the girls were found, and now I believe he is a state investigator. Then after him, there was a Delphi resident, Jake Johns. I guess he was part of the search team, and he had found Libby's tie-dye shirt in Deer Creek, which I don't know if we've heard that. I know we've heard they found their clothing in the creek, obviously, but I don't think we've ever heard of Jake Johns. At least I haven't. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if he found the shirt before they found the girls. Because I would think once they find the girls, they would, clear everybody out, that was volunteers or locals and only, investigators and detectives and whatever, ISP would be, there. They would usher everybody out. So I'm assuming maybe he found the shirt shortly before they found the girls. Sasha, good to see you. Were they fighting and it got ripped off? With the shirt, that I think that goes along because remember Libby was completely nude. It's believed that maybe she was going to be violated, possibly, and so she derobed, and then after they were killed, obviously for some reason, he threw her clothing or what was left in the creek. Let's see. So it talks about yesterday, and we'll kind of recap everything from yesterday if you didn't hear what happened. The jury is made up of 8 women, 4 men, if you didn't hear about that. And then we have 4 alternate jurors, 2 men, 2 women. According to this. So let's see if there is. I'm assuming here probably shortly. I'm assuming they'll go live and kind of talk about what happened during the day. The theory is, so when he was on the bridge, they can hear the gun cock, and I think that's one of the reasons why they edit it. Why it's guys down the hill, but guys and down the hill are too. It's a 43-second video, and there's a bunch of words said, probably not a lot by the suspect or Richard Allen, and I believe it goes, he says, "Hey guys," and then the last part is he tells them guys down the hill. And one of the reasons they believe that it was edited is because you can hear a gun cock, which is mentioned in the PCA. Even the girls mention he has a gun. And so I think they wanted to edit that out because obviously they wanted to keep that, because obviously they hadn't captured their suspect. And anyway, so they believe when he did that, that means when he cocked the gun, it puts a live round in the gun. So, so let's say if you had a full mag and, you put it into the handgun and you hadn't cocked it yet, so there wasn't a live round in the chamber. So now that he cocked it, he has a live round in the chamber. Now the theory is when he went and then they crossed the river, perhaps maybe he did that again to intimidate them, not realizing he already had a live round in it. So if he cocks the gun again, and if you have a live round in the chamber, it'll eject that live round out. And that's one theory. Another theory is there could have been altercation and the gun got cocked. Somehow the gun got cocked again while there was a live round in, which caused a round to get ejected out. So, anyway. In the freezing wet water, SA, I think after they crossed it, that's what they claim. Apparently he was interrupted. We'll find out. Yeah, Abby was dressed in most of Libby's clothes. Not all of them. Let's recap. Let me see if there's any news things real quick. And then we'll recap yesterday while we wait for them to go live. Because that's kind of why I wanted to go live right now. Because they're just getting out. Let's see. Don't see anything yet. Let me check Bob. It would be noon, right? Yeah, because they're getting out at noon. All right. Well, while we wait, let's recap what happened yesterday, and then we'll play a little bit of Murder Sheet, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on the feeds here. So let's just, in no particular order, we'll just, I just didn't get a chance to get these all in order. So let me take a sip here. These are just the highlights from the witnesses. Obviously, there was nothing big except maybe for the opening statements, which we'll go over here. Equestrian? No, I believe that was a typo. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that was a typo. We found a lot of typos in that live blog yesterday. We can play the audio. I think there's a huge difference between guys, because guys, you got the inflection, or girls is more kind of bassier. Girls, guys, you kind of up high. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a typo. We found quite a few yesterday with that. Hey, Party of One. Yes, I agree, and I hope the girls get justice. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I appreciate you coming in. So, in no particular order. So one of the witnesses yesterday, and then we'll kind of go over the opening statements as well. Anna Williams, obviously the mother of one of the victims, Abby. She described being at work at a restaurant when she heard about Abby and Libby's disappearance. At the time, she felt like nothing serious. Obviously, probably thought, the girls just lost track of time. She went to check on the girls and asked a coworker to cover for her. Then she described the moments and days after learning Abby, of course, had died, which is absolutely terrible. She said, and this is just about Abby, that her and Abby were close. Abby was a smart girl, funny, a shy kid, and loved to read. And obviously was best friends with Libby. So not a lot. Trying to think what the defense asked them. I don't think it was major, but there was one thing that the defense is trying to get to, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. Let's jump to Derek, the father of Libby German. He picked up Abby for a sleepover the night before. They made banana pancakes the day of for breakfast. Then, of course, they went to the Monad Bridge. Derek said he called Libby to tell her to come back to the entrance, which is the Mears entrance. She never answered. So that was the phone call. I forget the time exactly, 3 something, or around 3. He then ran into a man and asked if he had seen the 2 teenage girls. That was Dave McCain, originally known as Flannel Shirt Guy. Of course, he said no, which sadly meant that Derek would then take the other trail, because there's 2 trails, which the other trail kind of leads down to the creek. After that, he went back to the Freedom Bridge. He told the jury he continued to call Libby's phone and began yelling their names. This is the interesting thing, and I don't know. Murder Sheet didn't address this, and I'm really curious to know what the defense is trying to get at. I have one theory. The defense asked something, and again, it depends on who you heard it from. Defense asked something about a passcode for the phone or the last digits to his phone number. My theory, let me know what you think in chat for those that have been following this case. I think maybe it has to do with the geofencing, because a lot of times we'll see that they'll have when they're looking at text messages, and stuff like that, they'll usually have the number, for the person. So I wonder, because they know we did the geofencing. If you remember, the defense brought up something about the Frank's motion that, there was certain phones that were pinging around the time the girls were missing. And so I wonder if that may be that they're just trying to make sure they have his number or something like that. Something to do with that. That's the only thing I could think of. Taking a sip again. Then, of course, we had Libby German. Or, excuse me, why did I put Libby German? Kelsey German. Of course, Libby's sister. She said Libby always had her phone in her hand. Kelsey said that sometime after 4 p.m., her grandma called to say that Libby was missing. When she arrived, she crossed down on the left side of the trail. They went north off of the bridge where there was a hill to go down. They then went west to where there is a gate. So she basically described when looking for her sister. She described to the jury, and I think they had a map or something describing where she looked and searched. This is something I found very interesting. This may be what, if you guys remember there originally, there was claims that Kelsey found one of Libby's shoes. So I wonder if this is where this stemmed from. Kelsey said there was a tree with shoes on it along the route, but wasn't concerning. Lots of kids put their shoes on the tree. So I'm assuming she found a tree with, when you throw you tie your shoes and throw them up on, a wire or whatever. Maybe that's something they do with a branch on one of the trees. And maybe that's where shoes and Kelsey finding a shoe came from. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Then we have, this is one, and one more thing, when it comes to Libby, at least, with the defense, they asked, Kelsey and, Becky Patty, Libby's grandmother, Defense asked both of them, was Libby a loud person? Did she, and basically I think what they're trying to get at is that would she scream loud? And now I kind of understand, because apparently there was rumor that somebody had heard a scream early in the morning when the search, at some point in the search. So I don't know. Defense might be going that direction with the asking why Libby, if she was outspoken and would she scream loud. That's kind of what Murder Sheet was talking about. Sensei says, I vaguely remember seeing a tree with lots of shoes hung on it. I think it was somewhere on the private drive. And that's kind of, I think, where she said she went, because she said she went off the hill where obviously they were kind of last seen, and went west. So yeah, that could be it. Hey, Buddha, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. Then we have, so this was at the very end of yesterday. This is Mitch Catrone. He was also one of the first responding deputies to arrive at the High Bridge that day. He was working the day shift. He was almost at the end of his shift when the girls were reported missing. He took a specific route when searching for the girls, including the private driveway that leads to Brad Weber's home. He would actually go to Brad Weber himself, because obviously, for those, I should probably pull up the Google Maps here. We got a little over 360 people in here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you can, hit that like button. It really helps this channel out. We're going to recap yesterday a little bit. Of course, as soon as they should have gotten out, and I'm sure we'll get some reports coming soon, and we'll cover that as well. So here's the map. Now, this map is, I really should pull up Google Earth. It's kind of a better pictation of how it looks. But anyway, the bridge actually goes much further than this. It doesn't go to the drive. It goes beyond here somewhere, and ends somewhere probably about here in this trees. But here's the private drive, and this is for the Weber's home, which is here. So obviously they have their own little private driveway. They also call it the driveway. I forget the other term they call it, but I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, this officer had taken the private driveway, and he actually went to Brad Weber's home, because obviously the girls were last seen on the bridge. So he went and pull back up and spoke to Brad Weber, because Brad Weber got home at 3:30. He spoke to him. He said he noticed that Brad Weber was clean, not sweaty, not bloody. I know they mentioned not sweaty. I'm not sure about not bloody, but basically they said he looked clean and was, didn't look like he had just, killed two girls, even though they didn't know that at the time. He then also went into the woods to search for the two girls. By that time, it was pitch black dark, and was using a flashlight. Hey, Doreen, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay. Let's see. Went through Anna. I had Becky in here. Did I not save it? But anyway, Becky was more or less the same with Kelsey. Just kind of talked about how Libby herself, and then the day they went missing, which is more or less the same with Kelsey. The defense Basically, they claim that a strand of hair or hairs was found in Abby's hand at the crime scene. This hair was from a female. That was like a big news. That was even heard on, I think, day 1 or day 2 of the jury hearing, or when they were selecting jury. Of course, now we didn't know it was a female hair at the time. We didn't even know if it was a human hair animal. Now we understand it's a female hair, so which really, I don't know why they even brought this up. It sounded good for the defense for the first 2 days, but now hearing that it's a female hair, and Abby was wearing Libby's swim team sweatshirt, and that she recently washed it. So obviously that means the sweatshirt was in with likely Libby's other clothes, washing and probably transferring fibers and hairs. And we found out that for some reason the family never got DNA tested. So we learned days before this trial even started that I forget how many, Kelsey, Becky, I think basically the German family, the females on the German side are being DNA tested. So we'll find out if that is one of their hairs. Of course, they're claiming the unspent bullet is going to be bad science. It's not conclusive. It doesn't match. They also claim that Richard Allen was there at the trials until... This is where I'm so confused at this. So they're saying that he was at the trials until around 1:30. But a little bit later, they claim, in the same thing, according to multiple sources, this came from the murder sheet as well, and multiple news sources. They say the 1:30, but then, and maybe they're just mentioning that, that he claimed he was there from noon to 1:30, but they claim that Richard Allen left in his vehicle sometime around 2:15. So I don't, what's he doing for 45 minutes? I'm so confused on this part. It makes no sense. Of course, they claim confessions made by Richard Allen are false confessions and coerced. Again, if Richard Allen confessed and he reveals details about the crime scene that nobody else would know except the killer, I don't care if he was beaten half to death, even though that didn't happen. If he says something that only the killer would know, I mean, I'm sorry. How do you explain that? Unless you're the killer. And then this is where I really, this is something we'll talk about at the end that I was trying to break down in my head last night, trying to rationalize this, and I don't know why they're going this route, but according to the defense, they claim Abby and Libby. So after this bridge guy is seen arriving, takes them. So let's see here. I'll just play a reenactment here. Let's just show what they claim. I even made a video for you guys. Wait a minute. Why is that audio? Wait. Did that not? That is weird. Okay. Let's see if this one did.
Want to be told, get in line
so
here.
This
no, get
went
out
together. Okay, I put a video together. I don't know why it didn't come out right. That is weird. Anyway, they claim that Abby and Libby were taken by vehicle. and that at least 2 people were involved, that they abducted Abby and Libby, and that they were on this private drive, claiming that there was likely a vehicle parked here, and at least 2 people were involved, and took them. Then they don't really explain, because even Murder Sheet, because in the report, one of the reporters claimed that they were killed when these people abducted them. They killed them and then brought them back. But then with the Murder Sheet, they were confused on when they were killed. So I don't know if they even really clarified, or they just didn't hear it very well. Let me know in the chat if you guys heard something different. But either they were killed after they were abducted somewhere and brought back, or they were brought back the next day. Either way, they claim that they were brought back sometime before 4:30 in the morning, while people are out searching for them. And they brought them back. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous. Brought them back and placed the phone down, checked the phone, and then placed Abby over the Libby's phone, and they were killed, and then placed branches on them. And they did this while it was pitch black and people were searching for them. It makes no sense. When we heard that yesterday, I was blown away. Let me play this, see if there's any new up clips here.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure.
Oh boy, I'm gonna get
with power
striked for that.
Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor.
Sandra P says, I'm assuming it says, thank you for your hard work. Thank you so much, Sandra P. It's an honor. I've been so invested in this case, just as everybody else has been, and I'm just so glad that we're finally getting answers, and I'm hoping the girls get justice. But thank you so much, Sandra P, for the €5.99. Let's see, was this from today or yesterday?
He was arrested and charged with murdering the girls. Now his trial is underway in
video showing the jury what the walk looks like from the spot where Abby and Libby were dropped off all the way to the Monon High Bridge and across the bridge. That's an effort to try to put jurors at the scene of the crime rather than...
And let me just skip through this real quick here.
That person, these 2 young girls, these teenagers who were murdered, to help them give insight into who...
Of Abby and Libby, the outbuildings. There were 2 other buildings on this man's property. Did you search those? And he said no. But basically he said...
Searching out those hidden...
On the witness stand to talk first.
Well, there are both technical legal reasons for that.
Okay, I was just seeing if they had something from today. Let's see what the thread says here. Okay, so today's session wrapped up. Obviously, that's why we started. Jurors heard from 2 citizens, one who found Abby and Libby's clothing in the river, and the man who found the bodies. Man who found the bodies became emotional on the stand, saying, I thought they were mannequins. Oh, I remember hearing about that. I mean, we've heard, for those that cover true crime, a lot of people, you do, I'm sure you would think, they were just mannequins or something. Okay. Let me go over this in order, if this is right. So we talked about Steve Mullen testified about returning to work that night to help the sheriff's dispatch coordinate the initial search before it was called off just before 2 a.m. Okay. I want to write this down, guys, real quick, because I'm trying to keep notes, because I want to know the search times. Give me just 1 second here, and I'll get to chat. So it's 2 a.m. Okay. I still believe they'd be found, Mullen said. That's one of two. Using a large... Wait, how's he got this out? That's 7, 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2. Okay. Using a large map of the area, low-flying drone footage, Mullen gave a virtual tour of the Monon Bridge and key landmarks near it. Prosecutor Nick said he had to remember that the court was working with a jury from Allen County, not from Carroll County. So that makes sense. They're just trying to help them understand this area that probably a lot of them may not be familiar with. Mullen said he returned February 14th to help coordinate searches. I would love to know what time that is. Sending teams of 2 and 3 with maps to search the area. Delphi resident Jake Johns testified that his boss at his propane job, if he and a coworker wanted to spend their shift helping in the search. They walked along the Deer Creek from Riley Park, a few blocks from Carroll County Courthouse Square, to the Monon Bridge. Riley Park, so I think that's west, so they were going east. So I think, is it Riley Park over here? Yeah, there's Riley Road. So, man, so they were walking quite a ways. And they must have been... Wow. So the girl's clothing obviously was found... let me get my bearings here. Would have been found over somewhere here because I think it went downstream. John testified that nearly 4 hours into their search, so they're found around noon. So he would have started at around 8 a.m., maybe 7. They spotted a tie-dye shirt hung up on roots sticking out of Deer Creek. John testified that his partner called a Delphi resident, Pat Brown. We remember Pat Brown has been somebody that's been mentioned a lot, who was in the area just looking north and across Deer Creek to walk their way. They were on a phone with him when Brown told them, "We found the bodies." Brown testified, so Pat Brown was one of the people that found the bodies, locals. Brown testified that when he saw what looked like mannequins at first, he choked up when calling Delphi Chief Mullen. I stood there facing away from them. He said police were there in about 5 minutes, but it felt like forever. Oof. That's terrible. So they concluded at 11:45. Oh, so they ended 15 minutes early. Just seeing what this article is. What is it? What is this? Okay, let me go back here. Let me read chat for a minute. Actually, as I read chat, let me just play this for a little bit.
Want to be told, get in line here. No, get out. Go downstairs.
I
No,
can read chat
now
here for
come
a
back
minute.
up. People want to be told. Just tell people what to do clearly. Some people will still walk away. Most people will still walk away disappointed. I would really encourage
Morning,
you, if you're
Connie.
considering coming to trial, to consider not coming, because if it's going to be very
No.
upsetting and expensive for you to come and not be able to get in, just acknowledge that is really equitable in that sense.
So there's been some controversy on the bullet. No, the bullet was found either that day or later that day. Obviously, it was in in the ground, but they did find it. Um, Now, I think the defense is going to claim that they didn't document it well, and we'll see where they go with that. Hey, Aidan, Heaven, good to see you. Luna says he didn't do this alone. So you feel like there's more than one? I think a lot of people did, early days. Felt like, there had to have been two people involved. Josh says, from what I understand, another creator who was there, the 215 marker only indicates that Betsy Blair noticed another car, and he was not there. From what I understand, Betsy Blair. Okay, we'll come back to that. Thanks, Josh, for sharing that.
And he's been on The Murder Sheet. He's one of our best friends in true crime. He's incredibly thoughtful and compassionate about the way he approaches topics and is always reminding us to seek out the bright side of true crime.
In a different way.
Jason knows what it's like to rebuild one.
They're close.
I finally.
Interesting. I didn't mention it, but I did think it was interesting. So there was this YouTuber in Fort Wayne during the jury selection process who would walk around the courthouse. In the vicinity of the court.
Yeah, you mean like around the outside.
Okay, I'm going to skip this part. Let me just talk, hear a little bit of what they had to deal with just getting in and out of the courtroom. What a joke.
Didn't even get in. So they
right here.
For this trial, there were other people who got in line at like 4:30 or a little after that time. They didn't even get in. So they stood shivering in the cold for hours because this case was that important to them, and they didn't get in. So
that's crazy.
We all get seated. The lucky ones get seated. And then about 20 minutes or so before the session begins, Bob Mata walks in with Rosie, and Rosie gestures to a woman who's sitting in one of the defense seats. I think her name is Sarah. And he asks her to move so that Bob Mata can sit there. So these seats are very valuable commodities, and one of them was being given to Bob Mata. And you have to assume that if it is important for the defense to give Bob Mata a seat there, it's because there's a close relationship there, and that independent analysis. He is working with them.
Is in that row. All of those people makes a lot of sense that they'd be there to potentially support Richard Allen, support each other during, so to speak, here.
Oh, yeah. So, another thing is that they claim that there's not even enough seats for, like, the family members, especially for the victims on the victim side, which I believe is just absolutely terrible. I feel like clearly they've got a terrible setup when it comes to this whole seating arrangement. Sounds atrocious. Connie gifting a mob crew membership. Thank you so much, Connie, for the support. You are a legend. I appreciate that. Let's see, where did I get? I'm trying to catch up on chat here. Fire and says, I think he would have likely killed again if it wasn't for Libby's video. Ooh, that's true. That's definitely possible. Yeah, for those that are kind of newer to the channel, I do feel like Richard Allen. I feel like there's
in the past
with Richard Allen that I believe he is the right person. Let me just check one more time, and then we'll continue on here if there is. Still don't see a report yet. Let me see if they've updated their blog here. I still haven't updated their blog. Let's see if they have anything here. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, I was looking for their day 2. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, perfect. All right. Now the only thing is keep in mind, I appreciate Wish TV, but they are the ones I think that put girls down the hill. But I'm pretty sure we listened to it yesterday. It's guys down the hill. Again, that we found multiple typos yesterday. I mean, I get it. They're probably trying to get it out as fast as they can, you know. So, all right, let's start out. There's a lot more to each of the testimony. Let me just see where Steve starts here. Obviously, Steve Mullen. Okay, so the first witness to the stand, Steve Mullen, we just talked about. Looks like there's more about what he said. So, Steve Mullen, obviously police chief at the time, 2017, was on duty the day of the murders. Mullen described February 13th as routine, spoke about hearing radio traffic and receiving texts about the girl's disappearance. During his testimony, Mullen stood up and approached a map of the trail on a TV and pointed out where Abby and Libby entered. So maybe we can for those that maybe not as familiar with the case, they entered here, which was known as the Mears parking lot. Let me clear this real quick here. I'll go through his testimony, and then we'll check chat, and we'll just keep going back and forth. Let me move this over. Okay. After learning the girls did not return, Mullins said he contacted Delphi Middle School and spoke with the search party. Mullen did not participate in the search, but said he stayed behind at dispatch. Mullen says when he left dispatch center at 2 a.m. on February 14th, he told the court he did not believe anyone had hurt the girls and believed they would return home. Obviously, they thought there was multiple theories. They thought, because there was a high bridge, they thought maybe one of them might have fell and got injured. So, when they got there, a lot of the time, I'm sure in the beginning, they focused a lot around this bridge, thinking that maybe one of them, fell and got hurt. And then the other theory was that they were just playing hooky and, ran off or whatever. He returned to work at 7:30. Writing that down. Met with the search party. He says he did not direct them where to go. Allen's attorney, Andrew Baldwin, objected to Mullen's testimony about the search, saying Mullen only knew the whereabouts of the search because he was at dispatch. Mullen continued his testimony by describing when he heard the girls' bodies were found and noting on the courtroom map where they were located. He says he met with Abby and Libby's families around 2 p.m. to say that they had found the bodies and were working on IDing them. Mullen said he then learned of a store near the start of the trail. Oh, the Hoosier Harp store. Having security cameras. Oh. Is he going to talk about it? The store's camera pointed towards 300 North and West, and he reviewed the footage from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on February 13th. He also discussed drone footage taken on the trail on February 13th, 2024. Okay, interesting. Which state prosecutor Nick said was to represent and compare what the two scenes look like 7 years apart. Oh, okay, so they're kind of using the drone footage when they were looking for the girls to kind of show what it looked like. Okay, so McLeland asked Mullen what kind of people would be seen on the bridge in 2017, which he answered, teenagers, younger people. Baldwin then began questioning Mullen, so now it's the defense, starting by asking about improvements made on the trail since 2017. Judge Gold chimed in, asking about the thought process behind searching for the girls downstream. Mullen said it was in case the girls might have fallen off the bridge, which I just mentioned earlier. Baldwin asked Mullen if he went to the scene. Mullen said no, he was doing the dispatch. Mullen described to the court where the bodies were found in relation to Morning Heights Cemetery, which is near the trail. He said he went to Weber's property on February 27th. So that's 13 days after the bodies, almost 2 weeks after they were found, but did not elaborate. Gull asked if it would take 9 minutes to walk from the trailhead to the end of the bridge, and Mullen said about. To the end of the bridge. Oh, so I'm wondering the trailhead. So she's saying that from here to the end of the bridge would be 9 minutes. I think that's a little short. I mean, I'm sure somebody could do it. To the end of the bridge. Huh. Interesting. Oh, Richard Allen arrived in court wearing a blue striped button down, and he's got his infamous glasses. He was reported that he was looking back at his mother and his wife. Libby and Abby's families were all present in the courtroom. So he's been seen with the purple shirt a couple times, and now he's wearing a blue striped button-down shirt, and he's got the glasses on his head, which, according to the murder sheet, he has not used once. I'm wondering if that's more just for looks, you know. Yeah, reaching out the stories, girls being taken away and brought back. Yeah, the whole story with them being taken and brought back. I'm sorry, it sounds ridiculous. Glib Glob, you can see if Fox 45 has anything new. They were talking about it on the news. Okay, definitely check that out. Evelyn Rose says, why is it reaching the idea the girls were taken from the woods? There were many people in the area, and it was a hangout spot, and Abby and Libby did not scream. Yeah, when we get time, we'll have to kind of talk about that. I had a video. I might have to redo it real quick. They have video footage. No, that's not correct, Evelyn. They have video footage of Richard Allen's car at 127, and he's heading west, like he's arriving. There are other cars seen on the footage, but that's not Richard Allen. Yeah, I agree with Fire and Ice. I mean, I had always thought there was kind of somebody else, you know, that helped lure them there, but it seems like that hasn't panned out. Yeah, when you have Luna, I agree. When you have a gun on you, I mean, holy hell. You know, these poor girls. To have a gun pulled on you, yeah. Is it 2 a.m.? So there's a 4-hour window. Thank you, Jennifer. And we're made to believe that they're going to bring him back in that window. And if they had killed him while they were away, well, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. Because you got to factor in the phone, because the phone was. Well, we'll talk about it. I don't think they were really thinking this through when they mentioned that these girls were taken away and brought back, because you got Libby's phone and it was doing things and it was connected to the tower, and yeah, it's I don't think they were thinking this through, in my opinion. Um. Glue Bug, I wonder if this is the first time he had done anything like this. That's a good question. Um, yeah. All right. So we'll get to Jake Johns, local Delphi residents. Looks like there's a little bit more. So I'm going to read his statement. The second person to testify today, was Jake Johns, a lifelong Delphi resident who works at the propane company in Delphi. John spotted Libby German's tie-dye shirt in the Deer Creek during the search efforts. Johns said he knew Libby German's family. Obviously, for those that are not as familiar with the case, this is Delphi. At the time, the population was just a little less than 3,000. So it's a very small town, farm town, beans and stuff like that. So he knew Libby German's family, and his wife worked with Libby's grandmother, Becky Patty. Johns was not familiar with Abby or her family. John said he joined the search for the girls on February 14th. He said he knew they would be looking for a tie-dyed shirt that belonged to Libby, and that would be something that would stick out. Obviously, I'm sure most people know what a tie-dye shirt is. Very colorful. Obviously, that, that's very smart. When you're searching for somebody, every single detail about clothing, anything they'd have on them, but especially clothing, is so crucial. And the brighter the colors, the better, because those are the ones that are going to stand out. If they're wearing black or mostly dark colors, especially you're going into night, you're going to have a tough time. Libby, okay, so he said that he knew he'd be looking for a tie-dyed shirt that belonged to Libby, walked 4 hours, oh my gosh, and around the area and to the high bridge, where he spotted the shirt in the water. So he was, like we said earlier, sounds like he was, geez, man, he was like strolling this side up here, walking along the creek. And that's smart, because a lot of it's just one of those things. People end up in water when they go missing. That's one of the higher statistics. So I think that was pretty smart that he was following the creek. Sorry, I lost my spot. He and a firefighter, so it was him and somebody else, standing nearby, tried to contact police after they found to report the tie-dye shirt. But John said they could not get a hold of anyone. The firefighter went to the shirt himself and also located a pair of black Nike shoes that also belonged to Libby. Soon after, a person living on the other side of the creek was called to come down to the search area. Brad German and Kelsey also arrived. Oh, was Brad German Derek German's son? Right? Brad German? That's a name we haven't heard for a while. That's when John said, another member of the search party said, "We have found the bodies." So, yeah, that sounds about right. So they found the shirt just shortly before or around the same time that another team of searchers stumbled across the bodies. John said he did not personally see the bodies. The defense began questioning Johns, only learning that Johns saw footprints on February 14th on an access road near Deer Creek. Oh, I can see why? Okay, I can kind of see where the defense is trying to. The access road also. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. Access road, also the private drive road that leads to Brad Weber's property. So he's saying that they found footprints on this road somewhere. Oops. After being questioned by the prosecution and the defense again, nothing new was said. No further questions were asked. Okay, let's check chat here. And then we've got another another witness here that will... Oh, what did I do? There we go. He made multiple confessions, didn't mention anyone else involved. Yeah, I mean, if he's solely involved, and if it was him and somebody else, you would think, yeah, one of them would try to cut the deal first. So yeah, you would think if somebody else was involved along with Richard Allen, that yeah, he would have mentioned that. Cunningham says he may have done previous things that haven't been linked to the case. Yeah, who knows? You know, one of the things Murder Sheet said, and I'd have to agree with, is in the defense's opening statements, they didn't really talk about Richard Allen, like who he was. You know, you would think they would have built kind of like a rapport with them about Richard Allen, because this is about the only time they'll be able to do that. Until, you know, it's their turn to go, which will be much later. But you would think they would have built kind of a rapport. You know, Richard Allen's a family man. He's got a wife. He's got a daughter. You know, he went to work. You know, stuff like that. You would think they would have done that. But apparently they didn't really talk about Richard Allen at all, really. Yeah, Lady Lexi slipped under the radar for 5.5 years. Yeah. Jennifer says defense is just throwing things out there to put prosecution on defense. Defense is just throwing things out there. Oh, yeah, to put the prosecution on, on the defense. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with this thing. He didn't get away all these years because he was smart and crafty. I think lucky. He got away all these years, unfortunately, because of law enforcement not doing a great job. Agreed. They lost they misplaced the original statement. When we also learned about that yesterday, how the person who actually discovered the tip, I can remember the last name, Shank, but I forget her first name. I think it starts with an A. But yeah, this Shank lady was going through old tips, and it was because when they labeled it, put that tip in originally, they put Richard Allen Whiteman. Yeah, was it Richard Allen or no Richard something? Whiteman on Allen Drive. So they switched his last name, and with the first part of it, with the first word in where he lived, the street name, Whiteman, and they put his last name, Allen, as the first word. So it was Allen Drive instead of Whiteman Drive. And so they switched it, and they bungled. It sounds ridiculous. It really does. Donna says, unless his accomplice died, I still think he would have thrown them under the bus. You would think, right? Or mentioned it. All right, let's get to Pat Brown. PB. I'll be honest. I remember when I saw him, he kind of had that, bridge guy look to him, but of course he was just part of the search. But he was mentioned, when back in the day when everybody had their own person of interest, and PB would be mentioned quite a bit. Okay, the court's second session started with testimony from state witness Pat Brown, another search party member and lifelong Delphi resident. Brown's home is 1.5 miles from the Monon High Bridge, and he participated in the search efforts on February 14, 2017. Brown told the court he'd known Libby's grandfather, Mike Patty, since high school, and he also knew Libby. He said he was home at the time eating dinner and watching TV when his wife told him that Libby and Abby went missing. Brown said he called a man named Tom Mears for help. I wonder if that has any relation to Mears Lot. Does anybody know? And went out in the dark to search for the girls. Brown pointed out his drive from his home to the Morning Heights Cemetery. Said he stopped at a man named Ron Logan's house to ask if he saw the girls, then continued to the bridge to talk to the search party members. Oh, it is Mears' property. That's right. Yeah. So that is Tom Mears. Afterwards, he drove to the nearby Mears property and met Tom, to look for Libby and Abby. Brown said he called off work on February 14th, so the next day, to help with search efforts. He and Mears drove into town, where Brown said Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen was heading the search up. Mullen said in the testimony earlier Saturday that he did not head up the search. Oh, so there's some conflicting statements there. So maybe Brown was under the impression that Steve Mullen was head of the search, and Mullen said he was not. Brown picked up his daughter around 11 a.m. February 14th and soon received a call from Mears to say they had found Libby's shirt along Deer Creek. Ah, okay. So they found the shirt about an hour before the bodies, approximately. Brown went to the north side of the creek and found the girl's body on the way. Brown said they thought they were mannequins at first, became emotional as he told the court, "We found them." Melissa, a relative of Patty's, was with Brown when they spotted the girls. She ran off to call the police. Brown noted on the courtroom map where he found the girls and said he got within 5 feet of their bodies. Police arrived before Brown left the scene. Then the defense attorney, Andrew Baldwin, questioned Brown, focusing on the sound of voices, what could be heard, and if Brown had cell service while in the woods. Judge Gold also asked questions about Brown's cell service provider. How long did it take for police to arrive after they found the girls, and how long it took for the scene to be secured? Brown answered that officers arrived within 5 minutes of being called, and it didn't take long for the area to be secured. Saturday's session ended after the jury was shown a photograph of Libby's shirt and shoes found in the muddy water of Deer Creek. And then I believe, so the jurors can, for those that don't know, the jurors, sometimes the judge, and this is, to me, is ludicrous. I think if you're on the jury and if you're in a long trial, I think you should have a notepad. But I guess it just depends on the judge. But in this case, they're allowed to take notes, which is good because obviously it's going to be a month-long process, 6 days a week. And then they're allowed to ask questions. Obviously, that's pretty usual. And I believe they had a bunch of questions towards the end of the day. I'm assuming, did they... So in asking about probably the area and other things. Let's see, what do we got here? looking at chat here. Evelyn says yes. The defense says there's a lot of evidence on Liberty's phone that will make the prosecution crumble, so we'll see. I'd also like you to break down why the girls leaving can be ruled out. I'm not going to say ruled out. I feel like there's just a lot of holes in it. We'll get into that here in just a bit. I just want to make sure. What do we have here? It's at the top. This is something else. Check Bob Siegel. Okay. Oh, let's see what he had. That was 24 minutes ago. Last witness, Pat Brown, who found him. Okay, we've already seen that. Okay. Let me just see if there's any clips, and then (9 hours). Okay. Need to find. Oh gosh, I turned the page. Of course, the notes where I had the phone times on them. All right. We'll go over the defense's theory and why I have some issues with it. I'm just gonna have to make. I'm just gonna have to make a new time. Okay, so let me go to my notes here. Is it in Delphi trial? I need those times again. I get a chance to organize this. Oh, I know what I can do. All right, 1 second. We'll recap. I made a video. I don't know why it didn't work, which drives me nuts. Bookmarks. There we go. Okay, I think this one's got it. This has got the times in it. All right, let me go to opening statements, defense. Okay, defense opening statement. Yeah, okay, so here. The defense says Alan and the girls were never at the trial at the same time. They said Alan left by 1:30 that day. And a little bit later, they say his car's gone by 2:15. Well, there's 45 minutes, so what the hell was he doing for 45 minutes? Again, there's still no alibi. He claims he was there with his phone, but when they did the geofencing, obviously his phone wasn't on it because we know they would have gone nuts on the Frank's motion over that. Okay, so 4:33. I got to write these times down real quick. And see, I think this is a typo right here. Actually, no, this one's right. That one's right. Okay, all right. So let me just show you why this is an issue. And there's 3 times. Okay, so Libby had an iPhone. I have the same iPhone. I got it off eBay because I did a bunch of testing and stuff like that. Let me just see if I can. Wonder if I didn't. This one. Yep, it's this one. Okay. Wonder why this did not play out. Let me export it. MP4. Defense theory. Okay. So I want to have this video so I can kind of show, because I like to show visuals when I'm doing this. So we're all on the same page. Delphi trial. This should just take a second, guys. It's just a short little video. But there's 3 times on Libby's phone that are kind of crucial to all this that I'm going to explain here. Okay, let's see if it worked this time. Alright, let me get that out of the way. Alright, defenses theory. There we are. Okay. Let me snag up. Let me clear that out. 2:32. Okay, so we got 2:13 p.m. 2:32 p.m. Okay, so I'm gonna show why this is some really. Okay, what is going on? Why is this not playing right? I might just have to. I've never seen this happen before. This is so weird. Why is it not working like it's supposed to? Okay. Well, I'll just have to do it like this. It might kind of cut off a little bit. All right. Okay, so this is kind of what the defense is claiming. Now, remember, Libby has a phone. At 2:13, obviously, bridge guy catches up with him. Now, her phone has, I'm assuming, an app which is recording steps. Or not recording, but it's recording the movement, right? Just kind of like in the Alex Murdaugh case for those that followed it. Remember, that was huge because we found out that Alex Murdaugh was running around and, there was a lot of movement with some phones at certain times that were a little weird. So, so 2:13, he catches up with them, right? Now, in the defense theory, this claim there's 2 people. So there's probably bridge guy and then another guy with a vehicle that's gonna show up, right? Now remember, they're there, right? Okay, well, Libby's phone continues moving. Oh, did this pause? Yeah. Libby's phone continues moving for another 19 minutes. 19 minutes from the time that bridge guy is seen walking up to him. Guy's down the hill. We know that's only 43 seconds, so they're already down the hill. Now, once you go down one hill is where the private drive is at. You know, that takes like 2 minutes, right? So you'd think the driver would be there. But her phone is moving for another, for between 2:13 and 2:32. So that means before they get thrown in a van would mean that they're doing something where they're moving for 19 minutes, which, I mean, what would they be doing? I mean, I guess you could say that they parked the van up here and walked them down there. I guess that's possible. But, I mean, it seems kind of dumb. I think you would probably want to park as close as you can, nab them, and throw them in. So then the other issue is at 5:44, Libby's phone pings off this tower. That means, yeah, it's possible they could still take them. Remember, the phone's not moving anymore because their phone stops recording movement at 2:32. It's done moving. So I don't know how they could get it where it's not recording movement, yet they would have to take her in the phone, right? And
obviously very distraught.
At 5:44, it pings off that tower, so they would have to be close by. and not go without that range of that tower. I don't know how many miles. So, and then the defense didn't really clarify if they were killed while they were abducted. If that happened, then they would have to keep buckets of Libby's blood, because remember, Libby's and Abby's blood were found at the crime scene. A lot of Libby's blood. So then if they didn't kill him there, they took him, but why did they take him? I would think the motive would be SA or to traffic them, right? That's usually the likely cases, is you abduct girls to either, terrible things, but SA or traffic them. But you do neither, because we will probably hear that they were never SA'd, because I'm assuming because what really happened is the killer was interrupted. So let me just show you what it was like during the time that they were searching and how dark it is.
Just worried. All I want to do is have the girls get home safe. Missing, abducted, we don't know for sure. There's a cell phone tower, but the ping was last noted about 5 or 6 hours ago. They say the phone's now dead.
Word spread quickly that
look how pitch black that is.
Help was needed, that these girls needed to be found. Hundreds of people turned out and searched through the night. Becky Patty, Libby's grandmother, would say that you could see flashlights everywhere, like stars in the sky, like fireflies.
So now these group of guys that took the girls then decide they're going to bring them back where they were abducted from, which sounds like a genius plan because they're out there searching for these girls. Yeah, there's like maybe a 4-hour window. I'm assuming there's got to be at least a fire truck or an officer out there the entire night, I would think, at the very least. But then they're going to bring the girls back, and it would have to be up this way because I doubt they're going to be crossing the creek. Remember, depending on whether they're dead or not at this point, if you go with they're alive, remember, it's pitch black, so now they're going to haul these girls down into this wooded area that's pitch black. Now they're going to kill them, derobe Libby for whatever reason, and then kick on their phone. Remember, this whole thing is about the phone being kicked on at 4:33 a.m. for some reason, which we've kind of talked about why that happens with iPhones, is it stores power, and it just, before it lost its power, even though the power, your battery power runs out in your phone, it'll still keep some power in it until it eventually just loses that power, and it'll send one last ping out or kick on, and so it retrieved a bunch of messages. But so they're gonna bring the bodies back, or bring the girls back, then kill them, knowing that had to have known that Libby had her phone, and these geniuses are now gonna just lay her phone down, turn it on, kill them, lay Abby on top of Libby's phone. To me, just explaining it hurts my brain. It sounds dumb as hell. I'm sorry. It just sounds ridiculous. Evansdale, a similar case. One that before Richard Allen was, and I'll get to chat, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to explain all this. Before they caught Richard Allen, a similar case, almost identical in some ways, involved bridges and everything. 2 girls in Evansdale, Iowa, were abducted. They were taken by a vehicle. They were taken off their bikes at a park. Possibly 2 guys, we don't know. But you know what they did? Instead of bringing them back to that park, they took them like 20, 30 miles to another heavily dense wooded area northwest or northeast of where they were abducted from. And, of course, probably did terrible things to them and killed them and dumped their bodies. I think that's what the average killer would do. For them to bring them back. I'm sorry, it just sounds ridiculous. Not to say it's not impossible, but I don't know. I'd almost go with the odorless thing. That sounds better. And then they're going to be placing sticks on, so they're going to be cutting down branches or finding branches and placing branches on them. In the pitch black dark, yeah, they could have flashlights, but it just, when you start to really break it down, it just doesn't sound reasonable, in my opinion. Yeah, Dan Doolin, Dulin. Sorry, I'm way behind on chat, so let me catch up real quick here, guys. While we do that, let me just play a video. So,
Want to be told, get in line here. No, get out. Go downstairs. No.
I'm just gonna play that for a minute while we. Trinity says Allen Drive, and that nobody recognized that there's no Allen Drive. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I think what she noticed was referring to the tip, is that they noticed that Allen mentioned that he had seen 3 girls, and they remembered that there was, the juveniles there, and that's what kind of like sparked it. And then, yeah. Okay, sorry. Then it skips. It's weird. Like, I try to get caught up. Okay, here we are. Yep, Big Bird says, Libby's phone never moved again after 2:32. I have 19 minutes, because it's 2:13 to 2:32. 19 minutes. But yeah, exactly. It was... They knew when her phone was moving. So, again, when you really start to break it down, it sounds ridiculous, because if they abducted them, they would have had to have the phone, and they would have to stay close within the tower. We know the towers are not reliable, that you're going to bounce around. So I could understand some of the theory behind it, but again, you're going to bring it back, and you would have to know that they had the phone. It just sounds, I don't know. It doesn't sound plausible. It's Chris reporting from Murder Sheets Info. We've been going through the reporters today. I did listen to the Murder Sheet last night. As a matter of fact, that's what's kind of playing in the background here.
I mean, we didn't really want to obviously felt wrong to Libby here.
Canva present.
Kind of meant anything to me, because it's like you can easily do a lot of things and control a lot of people with a gun, including 2 kids who are scared and alone.
Let me
in the
continue.
So Derek German arrives to pick up his daughter, and Abby cannot find
Mitzi
them.
Scott, thank you so
Police
much
are
for the $20 super
called,
sticker. God bless you.
And as we all know,
please show Mitzi some love in the chat, and also helping Modern. I appreciate it. I am very passionate about this case. Again, I hope, I believe, Richard Allen is going to get a fair trial. With the defense's theory, when I heard the opening statements, and that they're going to go with them taking them and bringing them back, it just sounds, I'm sorry, it sounds dumb. It just, like, these criminals got away with it for 5 years. And anyway, I just don't know why the defense just didn't stick with, like, yeah, the girls were abducted and taken down there, but it wasn't our guy, Richard Allen, and just left it with that and not made it convoluted. I don't know. To me, I think the jury's going to, they're smart people. And I think if the defense continues with this, them being taken away and brought back in the middle of the morning in this little window that they're not searching for the girls, I don't know. I think the jurors are going to question that reality. Mitzi Scott gifting a Mob Crew membership. God bless you. Thank you so much, Mitzi, for all the support. I appreciate it. Josh the Posh. I wonder what the crime scene would have looked if the sub was able to. Oh, if the suspect was able to finish uninterrupted. Thank you for breaking this down, Chris. Thank you so much, Josh, for the $5. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Because I guess that depends on kind of what was interrupted. I mean, it sounds like, and I think is this going to come from the confessions, is that he's going to apparently say why and when and where and how, and, you know, maybe not all in one confession, but in different confessions, we get tidbits of, you know, what he claims. And yeah, I'm really curious about the interruption as well, because was it somebody that was nearby the bridge and he heard shouting or something? Or was it from the girls? You know, maybe it was Libby. Maybe she did something to interrupt what was going on. Yeah, there's so many scenarios. Let's see if there's any actual reports. I'm surprised I'm not seeing like a report, a video from today. Let me go hit up YouTube real quick here. Richard Allen trial.
And we begin today at noon with the beginning phase.
Why is that video? That video always comes up at the beginning here, and that's 5 days old. Yeah, I'm really surprised they haven't done like a. Let's play this one. This is 5 hours ago.
The journey to a verdict in the Delphi murders trial continues after yesterday's opening statements. We've heard from the family who spoke in the courtroom. We also received a new ruling from Judge Fran Gull on the composite sketches that we've all been looking at for years. And the proceedings continue this morning. Fox 59's Russ McQuaid is live at the courthouse right now. Russ, bring our viewers up to speed so far, not only in the courtroom, but also, I guess, the mood that Judge Gull has set, including outside the courtroom.
Yeah, well, good morning, Zach. We are back here in Delphi this morning. I'm going to step out of the way for a minute, and my photographer, Chad Epler, will push in. Take a look at that. That is a minuscule crowd. Yesterday, there were probably some 40 people standing up there at this hour. Now there is just a handful, which either would indicate the fact that there is waning interest, or a lot of people who were social media posters decided that the thrill is gone. However, we did sit through opening.
I think they're burnt out. Because even the murder sheet said there's no way that they're going to be able to do this 6 days a week, because they weren't able to eat. They were barely able to go to the bathroom. I mean, they got there at 11 p.m. the night before, and they barely got in because there was already a line. So who knows the earliest person that showed up the day before. Obviously, opening statements were going to be big, so I'm sure that was, everybody was expecting, some bombshells. I think there might have been more from the. So for those that may not have heard this, I believe there was supposed to be more in the opening statements by the prosecution, but because they had a video that they were going to play. But that video went, for some reason, they couldn't get it to work. So they only had the prosecution only had a 15-minute opening statement versus an hour defense opening statement. So I think they were both supposed to have an hour each, in my opinion. And I think, there was going to be a lot more in the video. And because that didn't play, maybe McClellan wasn't able to, refer to the video, certain things. That's just my take on it. Powder packs, what happened today? We'll recap that here in just a second. Lady says, remember Carter mentioned he went to the shack. He mentioned a book and a movie called The Shack. And it was supposed to be some kind of reference to the situation. No, he didn't actually go. Oh, yeah, watch The Shack. What was that all about? I never watched The Shack, so I don't know if anybody wants to chime in, but I guess there's kind of... yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's supposed to be kind of like an analogy of what he was going through, or, something like that. Heather said, I heard the judge told the defense to wrap it up as it went on. Yeah, it's possible, because I'm assuming, because I think that usually they would have, like, yeah, especially opening, they each are supposed to have, like, allotted time, for each side with their opening. I'm going to check this article to see if there's maybe anything else they might have put in here. Okay, it doesn't look like it. I will recap day 2. There wasn't a lot. It was only a short day. It's only 3 hours, less than 3 hours, with 3 people testifying today. I'm a little surprised that they brought up the Hoosier Harv Store video, but didn't mention the vehicle. But I guess that would be kind of out of order. Because I guess you don't want to mention you see Alan's car without, you have to kind of build the timeline. But I guess that would be the beginning of his timeline. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Maybe they did and they just didn't mention it in this article. That's why I was hoping there would be like a news clip. Maybe it's something new. But I'm not seeing anything. Anyway, we'll quickly recap day 2, and then we'll finish up here, guys. So just to recap, I'm not going to read everything. They had Steve Mullen testify. He was kind of part of the search. He was originally the police chief at the time. He's not anymore. He was kind of there dispatching people, I think. He was there until 2 a.m. on Friday the 13th. And they came back at, or February the 13th, sorry. And then he came back at around 7:30 to continue the search party. He wasn't there. Oh, he went to work and met with the search party. I don't think he was out there. And then he went, was it him? Yeah. Then he went and got the footage from the Hoosier Harv store, which obviously we know that's going to be big because that allegedly shows Richard Allen's vehicle driving at 1:27 p.m., which lines right up with his original statement to Dan Dillon, 1:30 to 3:30. I mean, his original statement is exactly the time frame of the killer. Jake Johns, Delphi local residents. He was the one to find the tie-dye shirt. Him and a firefighter, they walked this whole creek on the north side, and then they had found Libby's tie-dyed shirt somewhere, probably around here, and that was about an hour before they found the girls. And then, Then we had Pat Brown, another local. He was part of the search party, but he was the one he was with another who actually found the bodies of Libby and Abby, sadly. He showed up at the Mears property, Tom Mears. They went down, I think they went from the cemetery or near Ron Logan's property, which is up here. And it sounds like they just went down. Seems like they went down and not long after that, because they had heard about Libby's shirt being found. So I'm assuming, the focus now was going to be on the north side of the creek and close to the creek. And it seems that Pat and I'm assuming Tom, and I think there was a Melissa, who is a relative of the Patties, were all there, and they found the girls, which is truly heartbreaking. And then the jurors asked some questions, and then they finished up at 11:45, 2 hours ago, and that was it. Yeah, at the end of the day, I know some people, if you don't, I know not everybody's on the same page, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's Abby and Libby, and again, I hope they got the right guy, and I believe they do. Oh, talking about the shack, I'm assuming. It's a story about a little girl missing while on a family trip. It's unusual, but the man has a strange experience while staying in a shack when he went to look for his girl religious. Huh. I remember hearing like the what's the word? Just kind of the highlights of it. But God, it's been a long time. Honestly, me absolutely hurts your brain. No sense. Oh yeah, talking about them being taken away and brought back. Yeah, it just again, I want to see a fair fight on both sides, and I just think, why just doesn't the defense just leave with where the girls ended up, what likely had happened, but just it wasn't Richard Allen, it was somebody else, and leave most of the stuff alone. I mean, I know the defense's job is to, create friction, but I don't know. I think the jurors are gonna, process that. I mean, I know I would if I'm being told that, and then I learn that there's a search party going on, and that these guys are going to bring the girls back where they just took them from in the middle of the search party in the pitch dark. It sounds ridiculous. Marissa, another outlook of mine is Carter's dramatic. Now that Richard Allen is a suspect, I do not understand his past yearly updates. Are you talking about just Richard Allen and his past? Yeah. If that's what you're meaning, I'm surprised that the defense didn't, try to humanize Richard Allen. I mean, you know what I mean? Because he's being convicted of killing 2 girls, but, I'm surprised they didn't, talk about him. And, he's a family man, and he has kid, and, and he worked, and I don't know. What's the Shack on Netflix? That's interesting. I appreciate it. I wish that video would have. Well, I mean, we did kind of see a version of the video, but I had it highlighted. Let me look one more time. I was hoping just for like a news clip, just kind of get the vibe of what was like in the courtroom today. I'm really surprised. It's been almost 2 hours since court has been out. I guess it's because of the weekend. I guess people are just kind of... And it was only 3 hours, less than 3 hours, so there wasn't much going on. Anyway, so for Patreons, I'm going to start building a profile for those that are familiar with Patreon, because you can do a lot of stuff. I'm going to start putting the witnesses' testimonies and just basically building a thing. And then I'll also try to do that with the members as well, where it's just kind of a recap. Patreon is easier because you can just put everything in a group, so and you can just keep adding on to it, and it doesn't have to be video form. It could be text, whatever. So it's kind of easier. But I'll probably do a recap video. Probably come out tomorrow, and then we'll do a members live tomorrow, and then we'll start back up Monday. We won't be doing 6-hour lives, but we'll probably hop in at 3/4 of the way into the day. That way I can just take notes and start building up what happened for the first 3/4 or 2/3 of the day. And then we can just kind of go through that while we wait for the rest of the few hours of the court to finish up. So that's kind of the plan. Lori says, so do they show court live with this trial? No. No cameras, no audio. It's just journalists taking notes on their notepad because they can't use their cell phones. The judge, unfortunately, is very strict in this case. They've tried to keep it very tight-lipped, unfortunately. So have to rely on, again, just journalists, and in between the breaks throughout the day, they kind of update via Twitter. And then these news sites that are local, they have blogs where they just kind of, I'm assuming multiple reporters are probably kind of updating these as they go along, which is about the best we're going to get. It sounds like now that they found the girls, I'm assuming they're going to probably Monday. Let me know what you think in chat. I think Monday they'll probably then start to go to the officers and police reports and what they discovered. And then eventually that'll start to lead into Richard Allen. I'm kind of wondering, because I don't think they could go with the witnesses first. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do Monday. Because they had Mullins on, but then they went with the locals. I'm just kind of wondering how they're going to build this timeline. Are they going to start with the detectives, or are they going to kind of switch back between detectives and, the juvenile witnesses that were on that bridge? So, I don't know. We could hear from those witnesses maybe I'm sure this coming next week. Oh, you're welcome, Luna. I appreciate everybody spending the time with us. Again, you guys are amazing. And yeah, I'm going to try to do a recap video. I'll probably put it out tomorrow with all like the highlights throughout the last 2 days. Oh, we can, before we go, oh, geez. Oh, actually, I'm just going to destroy this. I don't know why. Not the. Before we. All right, our Charlie Brown artist here. I believe this is the family. That might be Anna Williams on the stand. I mean, it does. It looks like just a kid. They hired a kid doing this. I'm really kind of blown away. It's almost this is almost unreal. Seeing these sketches just it's so weird. It's so weird. Good Lord. Yeah, Grandma Shirley, they're going to be Monday through Saturday. Unless there's like a holiday. And I don't even know if then they'll take it off unless it's like Christmas or but yeah, so Monday through Saturday. So we're going to be busy. Thank you, mods. God bless you, Sensei, Jennifer, Mitzi. I know Dee was kind of on the road. I saw Michelle in here. But thank you guys so much for modding. And again, at the very end, thank you for those that support the show, because obviously I can't do this without support. So God bless Sandra, Connie, Mitzi, Josh, and honestly me. And we'll see you guys Monday, and then members will see you guys tomorrow. All right, much love. I'll see you guys.